What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to Not So Pro Football Talk. It is here. I'm so excited for this. It is NSP waiver wire pickups. You guys know that I love this. You guys know that Vince loves this. Reed, he loves this, but he just drafts such an elite team. He never has to pick up off the waiver wire. But I love doing this. And how spoiled are we that after week one, we have so many options? We had a lot of unfortunate injuries. So I do want to say big thank you to those guys like J.K. Dobbins, to Aaron Rodgers. Thank you all for going out there. Doing your no. I'm real respectful here. I'm not bashing on anyone because like everyone says, they put their bodies on the line, right? And just for our entertainment, yes, they do get paid, but unfortunately, you have some good people out there. Like I said, J.K. Dobbins, I wanted a career for him. Unfortunate events happen, and he may not have a career in the NFL anymore. So, thank you all for doing that for our entertainment and getting paid. But it's time to move on here. Fantasy football, right? The season don't stop. How excited are you guys?
Very excited. Week one script was awesome. Had so many crazy things happen. Hey man, like come on. Aaron Rodgers is pulling his Achilles on the fourth play. That's scripted 100%. We all know this.
So what Reed means by that is if Aaron Rodgers does not play 65% of the season, the Packers don't get their first round pick that they were supposed to acquire from the Jets. Correct, Reed?
We still get our second.
Oh, that's huge, man. Missing out on a first rounder. Oh, Jets with a highway robbery here. But guys, you guys know why you are here. You're here for some fantasy football talk. So give us your questions. We answer every single question on here. We're going to go by who to pick up off the waivers. It's going to be a super fun, exciting show. Before we get into that, we do need to hear Vincent's feedback on what he thought about week one.
Oh my goodness, man. I believe there is a script. But I think it's mostly for the teams who are competing for the championship. I said it last live yesterday. I think Chris Jones, Travis Kelce, it was all a show. They're coming back in week 2 after losing a very close game to the Lions. After winning the Super Bowl, there's got to be a script for some of these games, you know? Some of these teams are following something. They're like, hey, you guys are going to lose week 1, but then you guys are going to have probably a stellar season once these guys come back from injury and holding out. So we'll see, though. You know, I love football. So week 1 done, needs to go slower because it's going to fly by. I know it.
Yeah, it's crazy. Brandon Rogers says, I was thinking that Aaron Rodgers' injury wasn't as bad as it seemed. No way he can easily walk onto the sideline or the field and be fine. There's a huge conspiracy theory going on. If you guys want to hear more about it, just let us know. We might make a video out of it because I know Reed has a lot to say on the situation, and I know I have a lot to say myself. Israel says, don't believe in the underdog. Yes, we did count you out for that horrific draft you had. But hey, man, you came out on top. And as I text you back, I said, hey, all hail the king. Go to pay respect where respect is due. So good job for you, man. Good luck in the rest of the season. But let's get right into it, you guys. First off, we're going to talk about quarterbacks here. And I'm going to talk about my guy, BCB, Brock freaking Purdy, man. The most confident guy out there in the field. He is owned in 51% of rosters, so he may or may not be available. So go out there, go check, but he is not the number one waiver wire QB as of right now. These guys have some excellent choices for y'all, but he hit 16.8 fantasy points. This is on underdog. This is full PPR, and he's currently ranked 10th. He did go up against the Pittsburgh Steelers, who, you know, I thought had a good defense. I mean, Purdy felt pressured almost every other play because our right tackle just couldn't defend to save his freaking life. We need to change that ASAP. But also, you got to take in consideration that the Niners started running the ball more than what they would like to just because they tried to run out the clock. They got kind of tired after winning. It was almost 30 to zip. But Brock Purdy is one of my choices. Hopefully, y'all could go out there and find him on the waiver wire. Reed, who you got? Because I have an idea who you're about to talk about.
I'll talk about my guy Jordan Love. Big Money Joe says Geno Smith turned back into Geno Smith. What happened, Vince? Okay, Vince, answer this real quick.
So, this is what happened. When you lose your 2 rookie, well, they're not rookies anymore. They're second-year vets, if you want to call them that. But you lose both of your tackles, and you're going against Aaron Donald, who's coming right down the middle against guards that are not proven yet. You have nobody on the line. We had second stringers, basically. So he was disrupting everything. If you look at the first half, Geno Smith looked good. Second half, he looked bad once our tackles went down. So that's just how the game goes. I didn't expect to lose that bad, but the offense just fell off once we started going down. So we'll see. We'll see how week 2 turns out for us.
All right. Just to catch up with the comments, Israel says, "I'm coming for you, Reed." He's talking about he's gonna play. We're playing week 3 apparently. I'll worry about you week 3, buddy. You go ahead and think about that far in the future.
Yeah, he's watching film on the other team right now.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm on to the next week. All right. Big Money Joe says Brock only quarterback to win his first 6 regular season starts with 2 touchdowns per game. Dude's legit, man.
And who was the people? There's some people in this chat that were saying that Brock was going to come out as a bust, that he wasn't all that. It was fake news.
I think they were just salty, man.
I
think just like you, I thought there was a small chance that it was all fake and he was going to be bad. But I mean, I thought he was going to do great, and he proved all the doubters wrong. He's going to be great.
So continue on with Jordan Love.
Yes, Jordan Love had a great first game. I thought I was really scared about what his first game was going to look like. Bears' new revamped defense, Christian Watson being out, Romeo Doubs being on limited snaps. And then everybody else after that is literally rookies that he's throwing to, with Jaden Reed, Luke Musgrave, and all the other names that you guys probably don't know. So I thought he was going to have a pretty tough game. But with the run game being able to get established with Aaron Jones, it helped everything else open up for Jordan Love. So I think very much his success right now, as at this point in his career, is tied to Aaron Jones. So if you want, going in the future there.
sorry.
As long as Aaron Jones is healthy, I think Jordan Love, if you don't have one of those top 3 guys, top 3 quarterbacks on your fantasy team, if you can pick up with Jordan Love, I think he's a good option for you to start, in my opinion.
Sweet. Yeah, we got some other guys out there too. I'm going to steal one off before Vince gets in, because Vince has some pretty good options. I'm going to talk about the guy that you guys probably don't expect me to talk about, but he finished as the QB 1 or 2. I forget where are my notes at. QB 2. How crazy is that? I'm talking about Mac Jones. I don't like the guy. Don't like him at all. I gotta give it all to the offensive scheme and the wide receivers out there. I'm not convinced, and you guys shouldn't be convinced either. But one thing's for certain: they came back. They were down like 16-0, and I flipped the channel watching the other games, and then all of a sudden I go back and they're back in it. I'm like, wow. And a big part of this may have to do with because the Patriots were kind of forced to throw the ball now, right? They didn't have any other choice. And it looks like my boy, KB, Kendrick Bourne, former 49er, really showed out. Do I think he's going to be the wide receiver 1? Do I think you should pick him up on waiver wires? Him being, 30-some, I don't think so. I don't think it's going to last. You still got some viable options out there. But Mac Jones, good option for you. I do believe he has a good week going up. He's going up against Miami, as we saw last week, that they got no defense. But might be a good option for you. Vince, take it away, brother.
All righty, man. I got 2 quarterbacks I want to talk about. One of them is the guy that we've been talking about, mostly AJ, but his name's Sam Howell, played for Washington. He showed out, in my opinion. I mean, guy only had 16 fantasy points, but I think that he can go for a lot more. He's got Denver coming up, and Denver didn't look too much of a quality team. They barely lost to the poverty franchise of the Las Vegas Raiders. We've been talking about them and how they were going to underperform this year, and looks like both of these teams are. So I think Sam Howell has a pretty good matchup going into next week. So if you need a quarterback, because you had Aaron Rodgers and you didn't draft a backup, Gabriel. But
dude, he went so hard on Aaron Rodgers.
Dude,
that's gotta be rough.
It was pretty bad. But yeah, he's going against Denver, and after that, he's going against Buffalo. I didn't see too much from Buffalo and their defense. They are going to be good, but I think Sam Howell can still have a good turnout. So he has a pretty good schedule these first 5 weeks. So if you need a stream of quarterback, Sam Howell might be that guy. He's only owned in 24% of leagues, so he should be out there for you.
Big Money Joe says, "Yo, I gotta love play an away game before I pick him up." That wasn't an away game. That was in Chicago. I know the Bears never don't play good anywhere, but that
I'm
wasn't a
sorry,
away game.
Reed. You're actually wrong here.
What?
He owns that place.
Yeah, that was a Packers second home field.
Yes, I know that. That's what I was trying to
Okay,
say.
yeah, I think
The
that's
Bears
what
don't
Big Money
play.
was trying to say too.
Yes.
So, oh man,
Alrighty.
go ahead, Vince.
So the next guy I got is probably not going to be available for you unless you are in a league that does not know how to draft these rookies. Uh, Anthony Richardson, he should be available in 15% of leagues because he's owned in 85% of those other leagues. So if there is a chance that Anthony Richardson is in your league, like he is in one of our 4 leagues, you should pick him up. I think he did great. He had 21 points for fantasy. He did get injured, so there's a possibility that he may get held out this week. But from what it looked like when he walked off the field after that injury, seems like it was just a stinger. Maybe he has a little bit of soreness, but he should be playing. And he has a pretty favorable matchup, in my opinion, against the Houston Texans. They do have a decent defense, but again, playing up against another rookie on the other side of the ball, the Colts should be on the field for quite some time, especially with the way the Colts defense has been playing as well. So didn't get the win, but they might get the win in week 2. I think he's a guy you should pick up, especially for late game, because he has some pretty favorable matchups at the end of the season.
Nice.
Yeah.
We'll get there when we get there, though. It's going to be a long
Yeah.
season. It's barely week 1. It's kind of hard to keep our excitement in. I don't know if y'all noticed, but I've had this smile on my face ever since we started the show. This is my favorite day of the week just because we get to talk about waiver wires. Huge waiver wire junkie here. I need to make a hat or a shirt, right? It says waiver junkie. But well, we'll get to that hopefully pretty soon. Brandon says, do you think Josh Allen will perform like he should this year after a horrible game? Well, we looked at some stats, right? Since 2018, quarterbacks with the most amount of interceptions, Josh Allen is ranked first amongst those quarterbacks. Now, that's not great, right? Of course, he didn't have the greatest freshman or sophomore year out there in the NFL, but you can't deny that he has a lot of talent on that offense. And when I say a lot of talent, 80% of what I'm talking about is Stephon Diggs. Okay, so I do feel like he will bounce back. As far as interception wise, that's something he does need to work on. I mean, he is so fast to jump the gun. If you look at his play, he is quick. He is hard. He's 100 miles per hour. He doesn't slow down. I think that's his biggest issue. He needs to step back, analyze a little bit longer, maybe half a second longer, and make better decisions. I do feel like he will bounce back. He's going to be a top tier quarterback, but not because of his arm, but more because of his legs. As you saw, he tried to take off so many times last night. Sometimes it worked, sometimes it didn't. But yes, he definitely will bounce back. Excellent question, Brandon. Thank you so much. Anthony Richardson, yes. Surprisingly, he's available in a lot of the leagues that I looked on the waivers. I'm going to stay quiet now because a lot of you guys are in the leagues that I'm in. So yep. After Joe Burrow had a horrible game, he's up on the trading block, guys. Am I serious about that? Nah, not really. Unless I get a pretty good trade. That one's for you, Reed. Says Chicago's a home for the pack. Pick up all QBs the way Gabe will suffer. LOL. They guys are in the same league as us. YouTube great Fortnite cookie. That's a pretty cool name. I like that name a lot. He says, what should I trade Garrett Wilson for? I'm going to say something that I want to get these guys' advice here because I have a pretty strong opinion when it comes to this topic. It just really depends on how involved your league is with the NFL, right? We all have those players. You're going to try to, if they know football, they're not going to want Garrett Wilson, right? You should try to get Garrett Wilson for a flex guy, a flex wide receiver, a flex running back, because he's no longer a top tier wide receiver. As I've been trying to say, and I know Aaron Rodgers is not there, so it's not really fair to say that. But as you saw, Allen Lazard had a lot of opportunity, a lot more than Garrett Wilson. Of course, that could all change throughout the season with Zach Wilson. But go out there, try to get yourself. Oh, man, it's kind of tough to say, right? I kind of want to aim for like a Zay Jones or an injured Cooper Kupp, maybe, if someone will fall for that. Ooh. Or try to double up with someone, get a sleeper. I'm still very high on A-Chain, but I don't know. Maybe you could go out there and get, here's a good one. I like this one a lot. Either a James Conner, that'll be good, or Rachaad White. And I'll get to him a little bit later on, but that guy has the most potential out there in the league. It's up to him, and I do believe he will reach that potential. So, guys, what do y'all think here?
As far as for me, I wouldn't 100% trade him, in my opinion. I know his stock has plummeted now that his quarterback has plummeted, basically. Um, but at the end of the day, he still got a touchdown last game. I think going into the week, knowing that Zach Wilson is your quarterback, I think the Jets are going to be way more prepared, in my opinion. They were not prepared for that to happen on the fourth play. Nobody was. I think you're going to see a lot more plays drawn up for Zach Wilson. That's going to help Garrett Wilson play well. I wouldn't jump ship on Garrett Wilson, in my opinion, yet. But you also don't want to miss your opportunity. If you don't do it now and it turns out bad, you lost your opportunity. You're gonna get stuck with them unless you get a bench player. So in my opinion, I will hold out and not try to trade him yet, unless you get like the perfect trade ever. I would hold out.
Sell high, brother. Sell high.
Yep.
Big Man Joe says, go get Deebo Samuel.
Ooh, I don't know about that one.
Yeah, I think Garrett Wilson's worth a little bit more than Deebo still at this moment. Like Reed had an excellent point. They're going to prepare the whole offense for a Zach Wilson offense. Now, how good is that going to look? Next question. But Vince, you got any thoughts here?
I just think that the Jets are going to revert to a running team. They have Dalvin Cook,
Najee
and
Harris.
they have maybe.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm not being sold on Najee Harris this year. I think when they go up against great defenses, they just like plummet, and he's going to put up numbers like last year. I thought that he would have done better, but I was thinking of maybe trading for like an Alvin Kamara. People are still not too sure on Alvin Kamara. They don't know if Williams is going to eat up into his production, if he's going to play good this season. So if you really are dead set on trading Garrett Wilson, I think maybe someone like Alvin Kamara. It just depends on what you need. That's what we always say here. Post your lineup. We'll see what you need, and we'll direct you from there. But if you're looking for wide receiver, these guys just said some great wide receivers. But I'm thinking like running backs. Right now, running backs are a dime a dozen. So you got to get at least one good one that can make you stand out.
I love that you mentioned Alvin Kamara. I think that would be great. So that's a good pickup because he's going to be a sleeper later on. And Williams just kind of stunk it up whenever he played with the Saints. So I don't think that's going to last long. Sacked says, how much fab am I about to dump on Puka? Deontay was one of my flexes, and the only others on my bench are Quentin Johnson and Burks. Yikes. Oh my gosh. So you need some help, and you need some help like right freaking meow. And that for you is Puka. But how involved is your league? How knowledgeable is your league? How many players are in your league? I told someone today, because I know his roster, I said the max output is 5. I know. Before you turn off the channel, trust me, okay? And like I said, you're just trying to outbid the other person. If people are trying to be sneaky, like, oh, no one knows about this person, no one knows about this. I'm gonna put 1, I'm gonna put 2, I'm gonna put 5. It's gonna be a long season, and you got to think about it. Whenever Cooper Kupp comes back, who's going to see 30% of that of those targets? Cooper Kupp. Who's going to drop down? Puka's going to be the wide receiver 2, or maybe it's going to be the tight end. We don't know. But Puka, for the next 3 weeks, this guy is going to be an answer to a lot of people's fantasy football leagues. So how much do you put? Looks like you're a little desperate there. For you, not knowing how many people are in your league, correct me, guys, but I want to say 7 or 8. Also, what is his budget, right? What's your league? What's your season budget? I know typically it's 100. What do y'all think here?
I think this one's a little tricky just because I think a lot of people are going to be trying to get Puka. I would not pick up Puka. I would pick up Tutu Atwell. I was going to talk about him later, but Tutu Atwell got about maybe 4 less targets, but he was a lot better on his percentage of catches. I think a lot of people are going to be focusing on Puka. So if you want someone who's also going to keep up that production with the Rams and the way that they're playing right now, I think you should pick up Tutu Atwell. I think he'll last a little bit longer. Puka, the focus is going to start going on him. They're going to play the better cornerbacks on him because they saw what he did week 1 against the Seahawks. So look at Tutu Atwell because nobody's really talking at him. So maybe you could get him for a steal, maybe $3, $4, if that's what your league is based around, for those, what are they called? The
The
auction leagues.
Yeah, the
Yeah.
FAABs. Those are
Yeah.
pretty fun. We're in one ourselves. Like I
Mhm.
said, it's a lot of fun. It really just depends on how much budget you have for it throughout the season. I know typically it's 100, but it's good to know. Big Money Joe says Zach Wilson, Conklin as the number one receiver. We saw that kind of last year, right? Hopefully Conklin can stay healthy and he'll be a valuable option to pick up as a tight end. But we have another question here. Stephen Joe says, "What up, fellas? Hey, man, what's up?
So,
I have the number one waiver. Should I burn it on Kyron or Puka? I do need a running back depth, but I don't know if I trust the backfield. And Puka looks like a gem, even after Cup comes back, but I don't know. 12-man team. Okay,
Ooh.
so I got my notes right here with Kyron Williams. Kyron Williams really outplayed Cam Akers. Cam Akers did have more carries, but let's hear him out. Right, he had 22 carries for how much? 29 yards.
Yeah.
Oh, that's not good. And then Kyron actually got a pretty good amount of carries, turned a lot of those into some good yardage. I think over time, Kyron would take over that spot, but he's a smaller back. He's not a back that's like, oh my gosh, this is the guy that we need. He's kind of low. I think there's a lot more reliable options out there on the waiver wire than Kyron. And Puka, on the other hand, I think he's great. He should be on everyone's number one waiver priority. But if you need RB depth, I would focus more on the running backs instead of Puka. I mean, Puka's going to be great, but once Cooper Cup comes back, let me share this stat with you, right? Puka got 30% of the attention on that offense. Whenever Cooper Cup comes back, who's going to get 30% of that attention? And then how much is Puka going to get? 15, 20? That's if they can stay healthy. I think Puka's great for the next 3 weeks, but if you're looking for running back depth, go out there, go find yourself a Joshua Kelly. That's who you really want. A Joshua Kelly who's
Ooh.
gained the same amount of reps as a healthy Austin Eckler on week 1. Come on, man. Come on. All right, Reed, I'll let you read the next comment here. We got Ventro right here. It's a mix of Vincent's Vento.
all right.
Wow.
Ventura says, I have Sutton and Judy on the same team. I also have Devontae Smith. Should I keep both or trade one? If so, which Broncos wide receiver should I trade? Yeah, I think we're very big on trading. We don't like double dipping in this league. And AJ, you want this question, so I'm going to let you take it, it looks like.
Oh, no. I mean, I was just going to say, personally, sell Sutton and you sell him high
Yes,
because he had
that's
a
what I would
great
say.
week 1. See, Reed has the same thought. Judy's going to be the wide receiver 1 whenever he gets back fully healthy. Sutton had a great game. Sell him high.
Yep, that's what you got to do. You got to manipulate.
I want to take this next one, though.
Okay.
All right. Ventro has another backup question. He says, is Scary Terry a solid flex option for this week? I am a big Scary Terry guy, but the problem is he's going to go up against one of the NFL's best corners, and I believe his name is Patrick Surtain, if I'm not messing that up. He's going to be following him all game long. It is going to be a battle. Scary Terry has won matchups before against some of the best corners, like Jair Alexander. He played well against. But I would be a little bit nervous. I would need to see your full lineup to say, hey, I would move Scary Terry down into the bench for this week. But for me, usually I always like to start Scary Terry.
Thank you all for the questions, too. We're going to answer every single question. So if you have a question, shoot it up. Don't worry. We're going to get to you. We answer every single one of y'all's questions. Please consider hitting that subscribe button. We are a small channel trying to grow, and we have plenty of other platforms. Look at the description down below. We're also on TikTok. Check that out. Vincent, this is you.
Okay. Jackson Campbell. Let's see. He says, I need a running back to replace J.K. Dobbins. Do I go for Gainwell or Gus Edwards? Please help. Here's the thing, my guy. Gainwell, he had a great game, right? But can he keep it up? That's my thing. He's a smaller back. He has Rashad Penny nipping at his heels. He was a healthy scratch for this week. We don't know the reason for that. I talked about that yesterday on the live. But I think there's too much competition there with the Eagles. I still think that Swift and Penny can still eat into the production of Gainwell. So if those are your only two options on that waiver wire that you're trusting, I think Gus Edwards might be this week's solving grace. So I don't think that this is going to be something where you can use him for the entire season. If you're going to do that, I mean, I think we can talk about some of the guys that we have here that we've done our notes on for this week. So I don't know if you want to start, but I'll let you start.
Oh, sure. Actually, I was going to continue commenting on this question because
Okay.
I'm about to make Jackson Campbell's decision way tougher than what it needs to be. Me personally, I like Kenneth Gainwell. I love him on the waiver wires because of the stats, hashtag stat that. He has 16 carries compared to Swift, who had one, and Boston Scott, who had one. And the next top rusher was the quarterback, Jalen Hurts. Yeah, we saw that Rashad Penny was a healthy scratch, but we did hear the coach come out and say, hey, Kenneth Gainwell injured. I don't think he's injured. I didn't see a report on that, but he did say that there's a lot to share. There's a lot of ball to share in that backfield, so we could potentially see a rotation there. But if you're in desperate need, the quick fix is Gus Edwards. But I'm hesitant on Gus Edwards because he's going to share the ball 50-50 split with Justice Hill. So be prepared to be on a rotation. If I had to pick one of those guys between Gus Edwards and Justice Hill, I'm going Gus Edwards because he did it last year. Why wouldn't he do it again this year?
I just double checked. Gainwell is on the injury report for the Eagles. Ribs, he did not practice today.
Okay.
He's just sore. He's sore.
Yeah.
So I would say he should be good to start.
Yeah, like I said, once it really hits our radar, like we try to stay on top of these injuries, but usually, typically after games or that Monday, there's a lot of vet days, and Kenneth Gainwell is a vet on that team where they go and take a rest to get them fully healthy. So I still like Kenneth Gainwell a lot on this waiver wire, but looking for a quick fix, Gus Edwards, it is. We got a lot of questions. I love it.
Yeah.
I love it. We got to keep up. So we're going to try to speed it up a little bit. Blurby says, God offered Ayuk for Garrett Wilson. I have Debo though, so I won't. I don't know if I want to continue reading this because it's so good. Even if I didn't, I still wouldn't see that low on Wilson. I'm going to raise my hand and say that I was wrong. I'm going to raise my hand and say that I was wrong about Brandon Ayuk. As a 49ers fan, I knew Brandon Ayuk had to show out because he's looking for a contract, right? But it was kind of clear cut that Brandon Ayuk is a wide receiver one. It's kind of clear cut that Brock Purdy freaking loves Brandon Ayuk. They have that connection. Well, it is just amazing. I love it. I think this could be a good trade. You could see it as a lateral move, but I think Brandon Ayuk at this point of time has a way higher ceiling than someone like Garrett Wilson. I don't know. That could be me being a little biased. What do y'all think?
What would you say about him off that having both Debo and Ayuk though? That's his problem.
Oh, go package it up. I mean, say, okay, I'll give you Garrett Wilson, I'll give you Debo, but I would like to have this running back that you have. I would like to have this, just get something out of it. Just a little sum, because Debo, in a lot of people's eyes, still has a lot of value.
In my quick response, I say do this trade. I like it a lot. I am a little bit scared that Ayuk is a one-time. It'll happen again in a couple of weeks or so, but then he's just going to go back to normal. But I think I like this trade. I think he will be a solidified number one receiver for the Niners.
Nice. Speaking of trades, Vince, what do you think about this trade?
Jackson Campbell says, should I also trade Joe Mixon and Chris Godwin for Pickens, Debo, and Akers? Ooh, I would say no. But, I mean, Pickens didn't really show out. Debo didn't really show out. Maybe he can later in the season. Akers, we just talked about him. He's not a good running back. He is going to get a lot of carries, but he's going to be on and off whether he's going to get yards or he's not. And that's because he went against a weak run defense against the Seahawks. He's not going to do anything against any other defense unless he gets really lucky and there's a huge hole where he actually notices it. So I say no to this trade. Keep those guys.
Yeah, I think Joe Mixon is worth a lot more than all those three guys combined. Personally, he had a horrible game, but let's let them, bounce back before we jump to conclusions. Brandon says, I think Kupp is a miss this year. Take DeAndre Hopkins, for example. Hey, man, I tell a lot of people, go look for DeAndre Hopkins. You're going to get him late. He's going to have a tremendous upside. As you saw, he is,
top 10
yeah. Uh-huh. We'll see about Cooper Cup. He should demand a high target share whenever he gets back. So I'm in hopes for that. Stephen Joe says, it is odd that Cup flew halfway across the world to see a hamstring specialist. This makes me wonder if this injury is more than what we know. I could see Cup missing more time if that's the case.
It is strange.
Hey,
He's
man.
right, though.
Some people have done way more. I mean, look at what Aaron Rodgers did. He got hurt again.
Yeah.
But
Look
no,
what
I'm
Dak
just kidding.
Prescott did. He went under to
Yeah.
get a tattoo.
I mean,
Wuss.
sometimes people just want to get a second, third opinion. They look for the best specialist, especially when they have all the money to use it to try to keep their health up. Because these guys are still trying to stay in the league a long time, trying to get bigger contracts so they can come back healthy. So, I mean, this is probably the new thing. You know, you see a lot of wide receivers and running backs go to different specialists than the specialists they have in house. So this is not strange at all to me. Guy's got the money to fly across the world. You know, he gets to go eat some good food while he's doing that. Why not?
Yeah. This is the guy I listen to right here. He's our medical specialist, the NSP medical specialist right there. Ventro says, for the long-term situation, would you trade for McLaurin or Lockett? When you talk about long-term, are you talking about a dynasty league, or are you just talking for like the later on in the season? Because later on in the season, I kind of want to lean towards Lockett. I'm a little concerned about Seattle's offense now, but McLaurin should bounce back, especially now that he's becoming healthier.
I like McLaurin more. Lockett will get outshined by JSN eventually.
Ooh, I disagree there. What I saw this week, I think Lockett is not going to get usurped by JSN. JSN is a wide receiver 3 to me. I still think Lockett is the wide receiver 1. It's just that he got injured this week, so he didn't play at all. He caught 2 passes for 10 yards, so he had 3 points in fantasy, but he was only playing for about half a quarter. So keep him in, keep him healthy. We get that line healthy later on in the season. I think Lockett has the better upside, and he usually doesn't get hurt. So we'll see though.
He always goes to the ground. That's why.
Yeah, he does.
Brandon Rogers says, will Joe Mixon do good this year? I think he will, because he's the only option as far as running back out there. I get it. You might see him come off the field a couple of times, but he's going to be the workhorse of that offense. And that offense is going to have a lot of opportunity to score in the future. So you're seeing a lot of red zone touches. I think Joe Mixon's going to be good. I don't feel like we have to hit the panic button just yet. Big Money Joe says, I believe he's still talking about Kenneth Gainwell. His rib injury doubtful for Thursday. Yeah, Thursday's coming out pretty quick. But, I mean, Kenneth Gainwell has a lot of upside. Even if you do pick him up on the waiver wire, I don't think he's going to stay in the waivers after this week. So I'd probably keep him. And if he does miss, he misses. But he's going to be a good option for you if you continue going on. What's going on, Kyrie?
What's up, man?
Reed, take it again.
All right. YouTube Great Fortnite Cookies coming back out with another comment. Should I trade Garrett Wilson for Viking running back Madison, I'm guessing, or get a little bit more? I think you can get a little bit more, in my opinion, there. People still, I would hope people still think more of Garrett Wilson than Alexander Madison. The only way I would take that trade is if you have backup wide receivers that you can switch in for Garrett Wilson and you need running backs.
What do you think, Vince?
Honestly, here, I like Madison. I thought that he wasn't able to be used this game because the Vikings were having a tough time. So they kind of reverted. Yeah, I mean, I will say that they don't look like a good team this year. But they kind of reverted to just passing the ball. And you know who's on the receiving end of that. I mean, he had 130, 140 yards in the first half. After that, they really couldn't get anything going, so they weren't on the field the second half. I think Madison did great. He had 13 points throughout the entire game, and they really didn't use him in the second half. So give him the right situation. This guy's going for 20 points. I think it might be a fair trade. The only thing is if you need running back depth, Madison's a good guy to have, in my opinion.
I would love to have Madison. I mean, 11 carries, 4 targets. No other running back is matching him. Kirk Cousins had the next most amount of rushing carry or attempts. That was for 3. So I like Madison. They had a very bad game. We'll see how they do the rest of the season, but potentially a lot of points there. Brandon Rogers says, asking for a friend. Hey, don't you lie to me right now. Someone has to go. Either Rice, Tony, or Gabe Davis. I'm whatever on Michael Thomas. I'm willing to trade Christian Watson. Thoughts?
Tony is out. Get
Yeah,
Tony out.
Tony needs to be out of there.
Tony
He,
is out.
he's got
Hey, if you're asking
nubs.
for a friend, let them know, dude. Subscribe here. We go live every single week. We post videos all the dang time. So if you guys are here in the comment section, if you haven't subscribed yet, please consider hitting that subscribe button, helping us out. And also in the description down below, we have our links to our TikTok and also Discord. Discord, we are very active on there. If you have any fantasy questions, find us on or ask us on Discord. Trust me, you can ask any one of these guys here. I answer every single one of these questions, and these guys do too. So that's just more fantasy help. It's all free of charge, and I give out weekly waiver wire tips weekly. So there's a lot of perks when it comes to us. Polar says, I am sad. He turned into a big orange Tennessee football. What happened, man?
This is not a Tennessee shirt.
He's switching, Polar. He is switching.
No. I'm surprised he knows what Tennessee is, you know?
Whoa. Hey, man. Come on. We're all friends here.
He's not from here, you know? Tennessee's a weird state to know. Maybe it's because all that country music he might listen to.
Jackson Campbell says, what do I do with Pierce, and is James going to be solid? I'm going to start introducing y'all to the panic button. I need to get like a prop of a panic button, right? So when it comes to these two guys, I'm just like, whoa, that's a red flag. I got my red flag down here. I do have that. I just don't have it ready. But Pierce, for whatever reason, isn't it a 3-man committee in the backfield? Houston, I get it. D'Amico Ryans is coming from the Niners system, and that's typically what they do. But you have a stud like Dameon Pierce, you shouldn't be switching him off like that. So Dameon Pierce is not going to see any third downs. So that's concerning because you can see him catch the ball, but he's not going to because he's not going to give the opportunity. Hit the panic button on Pierce. Try to sell him high, in my opinion. And also James Cook, too. I like the usage. They used him a little bit more than I thought he was. But after the second half, raise your hand if you saw 2 other running backs on the field. Yeah, that's me. Oh, look at that. I have 2 hands because there's 2 other running backs on the field in the second half other than James Cook. That was insane. I don't know why they're switching these guys off. You may not have to hit the panic button. You could wait it out and see what's up, but you could also lose value on those guys.
I think James Cook is just a passing type of running back. From what I saw with the Bills, I know that they were fighting to score any points this game. As we saw, it went 13-13 before it went into overtime. In my opinion, the Buffalo Bills just didn't look like the Buffalo Bills. Usually they score a lot of points in the beginning, and then they run the ball, pass the ball, James Cook throughout the game, stuff like that. But to me, it seems like they're struggling to find what type of offense they're going to be. So that looks bad for James Cook. Hopefully they figure it out and see that they do have a stud back there because James Cook is a pretty good player. Dameon Pierce, I kind of disagree a little bit with AJ, but not to the fullest extent, just because I knew that Dameon Pierce was not going to be a great running back. He's just a serviceable running back. I was surprised that he only got about 6 points this week. I think it was like 6.9 or something in PPR leagues, but
yeah,
I mean, he should be serviceable throughout the year. I don't think Devin Singletary will eat up too much into his carries, stuff like that. So look for Dameon Pierce to have a better game when CJ Stroud has a better game, because it seems like it was mostly that they could not stay on the field for a long time. They're trying to get CJ Stroud enough attempts passing, get him used to the league, but you know, it is what it is. Texans are going to be the Texans.
It was very rough to watch.
Yeah.
Polar says, y'all missed me. I know these guys did. I know Vince talks about you like 24/7, but I didn't miss you not one bit, Polar. Not one freaking bit.
Whoa.
Appreciate you watching the show, man. Thanks for being here.
Whoa.
YouTube, great Fortnite cookie. Still love the name. Says, thank y'all. Thank y'all are good. I'm going to subscribe. Hey, appreciate you. I did see we gained a couple of subscribers here, so I do want to say thank you all to who subscribed to us. If y'all let us know who you are, we'll give you a quick shout out. But YouTube, appreciate you. Thank you so much. Like I said, we got other links down in the description down below. Hit up our Discord. We are very active on there. We are very active on TikTok too. I'm currently posting videos daily, which is kind of hard, but yeah, they're just for entertainment. So hopefully you guys can enjoy them. Reed, what do you think about this?
All right, Ventro says, do you think Josh Jacobs will bounce back and be productive in the new offense this season? I think if they want Jimmy G and that offense to work, you need Josh Jacobs to be a part of the offense and be productive. So I think they have to if they want to win. I think they got to give him more touches, whether that's carries, whether that's passing him the ball. I think he's going to bounce back. I don't think this will be all season long. I'd be very surprised. Usually you see running backs after a great year take a little bit of dip, but I don't think it's going to be that big a dip for Josh Jacobs. He is trying to fight for a new contract. He wants it. He ain't taking a back seat. He wants to be good this season. So I would say Josh Jacobs should be good for the rest of the season.
I think you said that perfectly, Reed. Thank you very much for answering that. But yeah, we still got some more players on here. I do want to talk a little bit more about some wide receivers. I know kind of like the name of the day as in our thumbnail is Puka Nakua, but there's another guy on here that was just kind of like, hey, why is no one getting him? I said, get him in the last round of your draft. He's going to be available there. I'm typing his name, so I'm kind of stalling a little bit. But his name is Nico Collins. Nico Collins from the Houston Texans. Yeah, Houston Texans. Yeah, I get it. But get this, he got 11 targets. And the person after that was Robert Woods, who was an older wide receiver, a vet guy, someone to learn underneath. I don't think he's going to be taking more targets than what he did last game. This guy should be the favorite wide receiver out there. With 11 targets, that equals one thing. That equals a lot of opportunity to score points for your fantasy league. And he's out there. He's available. Pick him up. Leave him on your bench. Put him in your flex. I don't care what you do, but make sure he's on your roster. That's kind of a mouthful there. What do y'all think here? You guys got another wide receiver?
I was going to talk about Robert Woods just because he had a lot of production in comparison to last year. But I knew you had Nico Collins on your list. That's why I did not want to talk about him. But, I mean, he's the bright spot on the Texans. So I think Nico Collins is great. I don't want to talk about Robert Woods too much because he was the guy behind Nico Collins in targets and receptions and yards. So if you don't have Nico Collins or you're looking for someone who's just as good, Robert Woods is most likely out there because I believe he's only owned in 10% of leagues. But another guy I want to talk about, some of these guys who fell off the face of the earth last year and are resurging. Allen Robinson. Yes, it's been a long time since Allen Robinson has probably been on anybody's fantasy roster because this guy was not it last year. I remember everybody drafted him so high in the beginning of the year, and then everybody dropped him after week one. So Allen Robinson has been on the free agency wire for a long time, but he's seeing targets there with the Steelers, and that's because the Steelers played really, really bad against the 49ers. He had only 11 points in a PPR league, 64 yards, though, on 8 targets and 5 receptions. So give him a better game. I think he'll have a little bit more production just because, honestly, I mean, AJ sent us that tweet about Trent Williams saying he hoped that the Steelers would get a first down so he didn't have to go back in the game and play. So give the Steelers a little bit more time on the offensive side, playing a less prominent defense like the 49ers, and I think Allen Robinson can really pick it up. So look for him to probably get around 10 targets a week. Hopefully he can get a few more yards in there and maybe even some touchdowns like he did about 3 years ago. But other than that, I already talked about Tutu Atwell in the beginning of this video, so if you want to hear more about that, go ahead and look at that stuff that we talked about. But something that we usually don't do here is talk about guys who you should not get, and that is this guy right here, Rashad Bateman. He has an X next to his name because you should not get him. It's not because he's a target you should go after. It's a target you should avoid. Rashad Bateman, he was supposed to be the guy this year for the Ravens, but when you look at it, he only got past the ball 3 times. He caught all 3 passes, but they were only about 10 yards each. He had 35 yards. He only had 6.5 points this week in PPR leagues. Rashad Bateman is not looking like the guy you should go after right now. If you think that there's a possibility he gets better throughout the year, you can pick him up. But in my opinion, I think he's going to fall off this offense and become maybe even the wide receiver 3. It feels to me like the Ravens are not going to be a good offense this year. And if it is a good offense, it's because Lamar Jackson is going to have the ball in his hands. But in my opinion, them losing J.K. Dobbins dips their offense even more. So I don't think anybody on this offense should be in your starting lineup as of now. We have to wait how season shakes out and what they can do against other opponents. But
Except
yeah,
for Lamar.
Rashad, yeah, except for Lamar. I mean, if you drafted him high, you should have him in there because he has great upside. But it's not looking too hot for the receivers and the running backs right now.
Sweet, man. Yeah, I also got some other wide receivers too. Now, if it wasn't for Nuka and if it wasn't for an injury, this guy should be on the top of everyone's waiver priority. I'm talking about my boy Jacoby Myers. The biggest mistake that the New England Patriots ever did was let go of Jacoby Myers, gone too soon from the Patriots organization to Las Vegas. And surprise, surprise, he was right behind, snipping at Devontae Adams' ankles for targets. Yes, this guy was out there, and yes, he is that talented. He is so great. He could be a wide receiver 1 on any team, but unfortunately, he did have to leave the game early because of a hand injury. So right now he is on the concussion protocol. So if by chance he does clear waivers, this is the guy that you want on your roster. Okay, I'm not saying this is the guy you want to start because, hey, that was just one game, right? But if you can consistently get that many targets, which I don't know why Jimmy Garoppolo is throwing that much, but this guy has a lot of opportunity, which is great. I mean, all the focus is on Devontae Adams, so Jacoby's just going to feed off of that. He's going to be last year's Chris Godwin. That's what I think. I think it's a lot of upside there.
All right.
Reed, what do you think?
Venturo says, should I look at other quarterback options with me starting Geno? I do think you should be a little bit scared of Geno. He did not look like he looked like last year. I'm hoping and I believe that he can get back to it, but you should always have a backup plan. We talked earlier about some quarterbacks that you can look at. Brock Purdy, Jordan Love. Who was the other person? Anthony Richardson was there. And also Mac Jones. AJ, we all hate him, whatever. But they performed on Sunday. I definitely think you should pick up somebody else if you have room on your bench. Just so you have someone as a backup if Geno does not start well. Maybe potentially even replace them this week.
When's the next giveaway? Oh, sorry. Yeah. Y'all gonna say something?
Well, yeah. we got to hit a goal. So
that's true.
To help us get subscribers,
Brandon, this is what we try to do here. Typically, once we hit 100 of a something, right? Followers, subscribers on whatever platform, we do a giveaway. But I did promise something the beginning of this season, right? I did promise that NSP is doing a lot more giveaways this upcoming season. I'm sticking to my word. Okay, we are less than 10 followers from TikTok. So if you have TikTok, find us on there. Is NSP Football Talk. And once we hit 1,000 followers on there, I'll be giving away nothing too crazy here, right? I'll be giving away some NSP merch, something like this, like an NSP hat, maybe a shirt, maybe a tumbler. We're going to give away a lot of stuff. I'm going to throw a lot of fun things in there. But the next time we hit something big, like on YouTube, we're trying to go for 500 followers on YouTube. So once we hit 500 followers there, we're going to be giving away some signed memorabilia of players in the NFL. We just gave away a Stephon Gilmore autographed mini helmet. Yes, the Dallas Cowboys Stephon Gilmore, past Super Bowl winner. We gave that away for free. All you have to do is be subscribed. So we do a lot of giveaways out here. Go out there, follow us, subscribe, recommend your friends. Shoot us a follow or join our Discord. We're very involved there. So yes, we're less than 10 followers away on TikTok from giving away some NSP memorabilia. I could sign it for you if you want. I know everyone wants that, but we'll get to that when we get to that. Cole Kmet or Laporta, 14-man, full PPR. Ooh, 14-man league. Those are always fun. Thank you so much for joining us, Cool Hands 1. I know Vince is a big tight end guy, so I want to give him the mic here.
All right. I just did my quick research on what I saw. It seems like both of these teams are pretty generous with passing the ball to their tight ends. Sam Laporta went 5 for 5, I believe. Yeah, 5 for 5, 5 targets, 5 receptions, about 36 yards. So he was a pretty good guy, and that's because it was a game where it was not high scoring. So I think there's chances that he can get touchdowns, but I also think that Justin Fields is relying a lot on Cole Kmet to save him. Uh, I believe that he passed the ball to him, I think 7 times. I think Cole Kmet caught it 4 or 5 times. So I do think both of these options are really great, but I think Laporta has a higher upside going against the Seahawks in week 2. When he played against the Kansas City Chiefs, who are a pretty tough defense against tight ends. So if I'm choosing correctly this week, I think I'm going to go with Laporta. He's a rookie. He's going to see a lot more upside. And I think that the Lions are a top tier offense this year, so they should be distributing the ball quite well.
Yes, I know you're very high on Laporta, and he did amazing. Great pick there, Vince. You helped a lot of people win this upcoming week, but good for you, man. Big Money Joe says, I got a signed helmet. NSP, let's get it. Who'd you win? You won was it a Colts helmet? I forgot what it was.
Oh, it was a Shaq Leonard or something.
No, that was a
No, that was a
jersey.
jersey, yeah.
Yeah, we're giving
I
away so
don't
much stuff here.
remember.
We're giving away Shaquille Bennett, right? Shaquille Bennett autographed jersey, Xavier Howard jersey. We're giving away 2 of those. Stephon Gilmore mini helmet. I know Big Money Joe won a mini helmet. I forgot who it was. But yeah, we give away a lot of stuff here. So stay subscribed. Recommend us. So appreciate you guys. I think look, Big Money Joe's giving advice over here too. That's how we build our community. We love you guys. Brandon says, I'm about to start sharing. Thank you, Brandon. And he wants it to be signed by none other than Vince here. We'll get that done. If you win, you'll go out there, join our Discord for a chance to win or a chance to be part of our NSP Gold member group.
Giveaway Reed's jacket. What jacket?
The one you have on.
This thing?
Yeah.
Sure. Whatever you guys want.
Whatever we need to do to help grow
Reed.
our channel. I mean, that's who we are. But continuing on with wide receivers, I do want to talk about one guy that people said that I was wrong about, that people just counted out, that even had Jacksonville Jaguars fans tell me this guy is not going to do much. It's all about Christian Kirk and Calvin Ridley. I want to talk about Zay Jones. Who is Zay Jones? The guy who we talked about last year, taking away a lot of targets from Christian Kirk, who Christian Kirk is, guess what, is a drop now player. He doesn't have any value, and some guys took him in the 5th, 6th round.
Yep.
Zay Jones is a wide receiver 2. Calvin Ridley is a wide receiver 1. He goes out there. He's a beast. He could potentially be a top 10 fantasy wide receiver by the end of the season. Zay Jones ain't no joke when it comes to target shares. This guy is producing. He's going to continue to produce. I think he's a good guy to have on your roster. And depending on the week and the matchup, I think he's a great guy to have on your flex position. Vince, I saw the light bulb kind of flicker there whenever I mentioned Zay Jones. Give me your thoughts here. Let me feed off of that.
He's good, man. I mean, we talked about Sunshine being a great quarterback this year. Zay Jones is going to help with that. So I think the Jacksonville Jaguars have a really good offense. I would say they're about creeping up into that top 10 range just because they did have a decent matchup this week. So, but I still think Zay Jones is a guy to go forward with. If he's on your waiver wire, he is a guy you should be able to pick up, especially if you're high on those waivers. I think this is a guy where if you need the wide receiver help right now because there's some injuries or there's some guys underperforming, Zay Jones is a good guy to pick up because he should be producing week in, week out. He's just got the speed. He's got the length. I believe he's quite tall, too. I think he's like 6'1", 6'2".
Oh, yeah.
So Zay Jones will get out there, get the ball. He's a great route runner, too. So Zay Jones is a good guy to pick up.
Definitely. Now let's get into Vincent's favorite topic here. We're going to hit it back with the tight ends. I'm going to kick it off. With probably the most obvious guy that everyone's been talking about, which is Hayden Hurst. Yes, you could blame a little bit on injury, but Hayden Hurst seemed to be the Panthers' favorite wide receiver out there. Adam Thielen was dealing with some injuries as well, but Jonathan Mingo did seem to come out in a slow start. He could potentially pick up, but right now Hayden Hurst in this struggling NFL league that for tight ends, Hayden Hurst might be your savior.
Very
A
nice.
good comment here.
Gorilla Kid says, I have running backs Mitson, Bijan, Robinson, Pacheco, wide receivers Garrett Wilson, Michael Williams, Tyler Lockett, Christian Watson, Zay Flowers, Gabe Davis, Deontay Johnson. What running back, wide receiver, and what waivers should I grab? Do I drop Deontay or Gabe Davis? I'm all about dropping Gabe Davis any time of the week. I don't trust that guy worth a dime. Deontay Johnson also. Didn't he get hurt? That's what I heard. I thought.
Sorry, Gabe
I-
Davis?
No, Deontay Johnson.
Yeah.
I thought he
Yes, he
hurt
has a
any-
hamstring injury,
Yes,
which
yes,
I'm going
I
to do a
thought.
little plug in here, Reed. So I'm going to interrupt you
Of
for
course,
just a
of course,
second.
yes.
The plug is if you are subscribed here and if you join our Discord, you have weekly availability to our waiver wire pickups. And it's not just waiver wire pickups, but it tells you who gets injured, who to pick up, who to drop, what defense to stream. This is what it looks like here. Well, that's a horrible example. This is what it looks like here. And we give this out weekly to all of our subscribers, to everyone who's on our Discord, if you want it. So you have those options there. I'm going to zoom in just a little bit because people are probably like looking into their phone like, what the heck's going on? But I guess I can't zoom into it. There it is. But stuff like that. So I got people to pick up QB, running backs, wide receivers. So I'll scroll down here just for your question. These are some couple key players that you could pick up on the waiver wire who's available to you right now for running backs, wide receivers. We got Joshua Kelly, Kenneth Gainwell, Gus Edwards, and Justice Hill, which I'm kind of skeptical about. Kyron Williams, same thing. Puka Nacua, who should be in the top of your waiver priority. Nico Collins, Jacoby Myers, Zay Jones, which we just went over. But if you have more questions, shoot in the comment section. We answer every single one of y'all's questions. Thank you so much for joining us live. Reed, I'll let you continue.
So Deontay and Gabe Davis both locks, in my opinion, for people who you should drop. As far as people that you should pick up, those people that Agent just showed on the screen, all of them are viable options.
Nice. Brandon's saying Tony isn't doing well, but he's still the number one wide receiver on the depth chart. This is the kind of time like where you look at the depth chart and you're just like, I'm going to scratch that. I'm going to look more in the stat section, which if you guys have any question about stats, that's literally what I have to do. If I'm doing any of these waiver wire pickups, don't listen to anyone who doesn't look at stats or who doesn't watch the game. So we got to do both. It's a lot of work, but we do it for you guys, so you guys don't have to. What was that?
I have a spidey sense. That's what I use.
Reed has the sixth sense. He's from Stranger Things. So you've been to the underworld, the other side, whatever you want to call it, right? The upside down. There you go. But yeah, we look at all these stats. I mean, Tony, he may be given another chance, but he's not going to be the wide receiver one anymore. We saw. I don't want to say Sky Moore, right? Sky Moore was kind of pushed off to the back. And we're going to see a lot more opportunity when it comes to these other wide receivers, especially once they start getting healthy. Hopefully, we see a little bit more of MVS. We saw him trending last year. You know, he's a veteran type of guy, a guy who actually could catch the ball. But then again, Travis Kelce is coming back, and we all know how the targets get split up around there.
Yep.
That's just me.
For sure.
But
I agree.
go ahead, Vince.
No, I agree.
Yeah.
Oh.
That first drive that he had, there was 7 different receivers that he threw to that drove him down there. They spread the ball around. Travis Kelce will eat up the rest. I don't like trusting anybody except running backs on that team, in my opinion, as far as a week-to-week starter.
Vince, do you have another tight end?
I have many tight ends to talk about. One of these guys, he's just my personal favorite for this year. I think he's going to be a breakout player. As soon as they notice him, this week they didn't notice him too much. But I want to talk about Juwan Johnson. He only had 6 fantasy points this week, but he got thrown the ball 5 times and he caught it 3 times for 36 yards. Now, you don't think that this is probably something to get wowed about, but Juwan Johnson has tremendous size. He's one of the biggest tight ends in the league right now. I think he stands at 6'6" or 6'7", and he's about 220 to 230 pounds. I'm not too sure exactly what his weight is, but he's a fast, big guy, and he demands targets. So as soon as Derek Carr figures out, hey, I got a stud here, just like I did when I was in Las Vegas with Darren Waller, he's going to start passing him the ball. I don't think it will be this next week because they do have a tough matchup against the Carolina defense, who is pretty fast at the linebacker position. But look for him to start making some noise against the Green Bay Packers in Week 3. I think that's when he's going to break out. If not, it'll be against Tampa Bay in Week 4. I just wanted to see how Reed reacted. But Juwan Johnson, look for him. He will be on the waiver wire these next few weeks. But yeah, so pick him up if you need the tight end position to start popping for you, because this guy will. Another thing, due to injury, Adam Troutman is playing for Denver because Greg Dulcich is injured with a hamstring injury. Now, we don't know how long he'll be out with his hamstring injury, but it seems like it'll be 2 to 4 weeks, just like usually how it is. But Adam Troutman is owned in 0% of leagues on freaking fantasy, the Sleeper Fantasy app. Nobody had this guy on their radar, but I believe he got 8 points this week, and that was after the fact when Greg Dulcich got injured. So he went 5 for 5, 34 yards. Not too bad, but Russell Wilson really does love his tight ends there in Denver. So look for Adam Troutman to put up some production. If you're really, really hurting, Adam Troutman might be a quick fix for you in the next couple of weeks. Other than that, I really want to talk about Logan Thomas. Reed was high on him last year. I'm not too sure if he was this year, but Logan Thomas is very good. He had 8 targets. He didn't catch all of them. He only caught 4, but he went for 43 yards, and he is a touchdown presence. He didn't score a touchdown this week, but Logan Thomas last year was putting up some numbers in the touchdown category. So look for him to also take up his production. I mean, 8 targets. That's awesome. Sam Howell really tries to trust this guy. So look for him to catch a little bit more passes than that in the coming weeks as they start developing their game plan. Other than that, Zach Ertz, he is on a poverty franchise right now. He's one of the only studs there, besides their running back, James Conner, who AJ really loves too. But he got thrown the ball 10 times from Joshua Dobbs. He caught 6, only went for 21 yards, but Joshua Dobbs is trying to force feed him like if he's Travis Kelce. So look for Zach Ertz, especially if you are in a PPR league. They should get some more favorable matchups in the coming weeks, starting in Week 3 against Dallas, starting in Week 4 against the San Francisco 49ers, apparently. I don't think that will happen, but that's what the Sleeper app says. But look for Zach Ertz to take up his production. It just depends on how Joshua Dobbs plays. But just like I did for the receivers, do not get Donald Parham. Don't. He got a touchdown this week. He only caught, I believe, 3 passes, and he had 11 points on fantasy. Listen to what AJ said. Look at the stats. He is behind Gerald Everett, who is also demanding more targets than Donald Parham is. So don't get this guy. It's not worth it. It will be a one and done type of thing. So other than that, my tight end segment is done.
The only thing I got to say to you, Vance, is what happened to the Steelers tight end after they played the Niners?
Oh, Freiermuth?
Yeah, I almost broke his freaking neck.
Yeah. Didn't he catch a touchdown, though?
Hey, man. We had to let them catch a touchdown because Trent Williams was tired. He needed a break. We let him get in the end zone.
Okay.
All right.
Yeah.
Oh,
All
man.
good.
So those are good options for tight ends, Vincent. But now let's get into my favorite part, right? Because if you're like me, I stream defenses every single week to get the best valuable option for you and to win your fantasy matchup. So I don't hold a defense for the whole league unless I have the San Francisco 49ers, which I was a little offended because I was watching some other guy who said, oh, the Niners has the best. Oh, I'm sorry. Has one of the top 5 defenses. Nah. Let's get this something straight over here. Right? It is the best defense that the NFL has ever seen in their life. All right. But yeah, chest injury. He did land. They just Hufanga just crushed him. Good clean hit though. This guy's a Niners fan. He knows. Yeah, it was horrible. It was a clean hit. Some guy had on the back then. But going on to defenses that you guys should stream, I don't think these defenses will be available. So I'm going to give you 5 options here. Number 1, 49ers at Rams. You want to have the 49ers defense. It's not going to be available. Number 2, the Cleveland Browns at the Steelers. Did you see what the Niners did to the Steelers? They're hurting. They're losing. They lost 2 offensive weapons. Crazy. But look what the Cleveland Browns did to the Cincinnati Bengals. I can see that happening to Pittsburgh as well. So Browns, good option. Up next, Chargers at the Tennessee Titans. You saw Ryan Tannehill throw 3 interceptions. I guess some things just don't ever change. Chargers should do okay. I know they don't have the greatest defense out there, but they do have a good secondary, which I love the odds of Ryan Tannehill getting interception this upcoming game. Up next, I don't think this is going to be available, but Jets at Cowboys. You're going to want the Cowboys defense here. I don't think they're going to do what they did last week against the Giants, but the Jets with Zach Wilson, I'll take my money on the Cowboys defense here. And the last one, I'm adding this one because I know it might be available. Sorry, Vince, but I'm going to put the Lions at Seattle Seahawks. I was very shocked to see what Seattle did week 1. Not saying I'm mad about it, but that's a lot of concern. And then, like Vincent said, losing your right and left tackle, that is huge. Aiden Hutchinson might just have a field day out there going against Seattle. And so that might be a good pickup for you.
Yeah, man. We've already started looking at some veteran left tackles and right tackles. So we're hurting there.
Ventral says, this ain't about football, but who do you guys think this Thursday night game between the Vikings and Eagles will be a close game? Hey, man, we're not just a fantasy show. We talk about football all the dang time. Ask us whatever question you want. It could be a life question, okay? We are also counselors. Just kidding, we're not, but we'll help you through it. But what do we think about fantasy football, or not about fantasy football, but the Thursday night game between the Vikings and Eagles? I think they were both pretty disappointing week 1. I want to put Eagles in there because defensively they played very well for the first 5 minutes, and then they allowed the Patriots to come back.
Yes.
I think Eagles will come out on top, but I'm very curious to see how they bounce back from week 1. What do y'all think?
Vikings stink. Give me the Eagles all day long. They easily win this. Not like 2 scores or whatever. I say max 10 points that they win by.
Wow.
Max.
Wow.
You know, I think this is going to be a pretty close game. I think the Vikings will turn it around. I think that maybe they'll run the ball a little bit more, but I don't think the Vikings are going to win. I'm still taking the Eagles here. They have the better defense. They have the better quarterback, in my opinion, and they have the better wide receiver core. And yes, I say core there because Addison and Jefferson, they are good, but you lock up those guys like the Eagles can with their cornerbacks and safeties, and I think it's going to be a harder game for them to score. I don't think that the Eagles are going to be firing on all cylinders on the offensive side because I still think there are a lot of kinks they need to get out of what happened in week 1 because, 1, they didn't use A.J. Brown like they should have. I mean, it was going into the 4th quarter. He only had 3 receptions for like 20 yards. So that was pretty disappointing, but he ended up playing well in the 4th quarter. Devontae Smith is a great wide receiver too. So I think that the Eagles should be just fine, but I still think they won't come out firing on all cylinders like they were in the playoffs. So should be a good game.
It should be. And if you're interested in our game picks, we do our game picks every single Thursday. So we have a video releasing this Thursday about who we are picking against the spread for the NFL picks. So join along there. It's a super short video, something to watch on your lunch break or whatever you do in your life. But we're here to entertain y'all and give you our not so pro opinions on the NFL. So look out for Thursdays for Pick'em Thursday is what we call them, I think. Right? Is that right?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yes.
But Big Money Joe says something tells me that Vince will drop the Seahawks defense.
Called out.
Vince says not a
I will
chance.
I will not. I
Wow.
still believe that we can actually get some pressure in there. We have a lot of young guys, so we have a lot of guys coming back from injury too. Jamal Adams is going to come back, and Witherspoon is coming back from his hamstring injury that he's already healthy from. So hopefully they can make a difference. We'll see. But until I see that we stink it up with all of our starters, they're going to stay in my roster. And I went 4-0 this week in all my fantasy leagues, so I'm doing something right. I mean,
All right.
Well, there you go, Vince. Super excited. But that's our fantasy show, you guys. Like I said, if you do miss the show, but if you're subscribed and in our Discord, we also send out our waiver wire pick'em sheets. So if you miss it, no biggie. Everything that or almost everything we said, pretty much, is inside this little sheet. You get to look at that, reference that, and you get to keep it. It's yours. You have a PDF file, a picture file. You can even print it out. It's all yours. That's just one of the many perks that comes with being subscribed to NSP. Guys, do you guys have anything else before we log out for the day?
I don't.
No? Awesome. It's been a super fun show. Thank you all for spending your day or part of your day with us. If you haven't yet, please consider hitting that subscribe button. We did gain 3 subscribers this video, so huge shout out to you 3 subscribers. I do believe one of them was YouTube. Can't remember the middle part, and Cookie. So thank you all so much for hitting that subscribe button.
I'll get a real shout out. YouTube, great Fortnite Cookie. Thank you for subscribing.
Appreciate you, man. We do go live every Monday, every Tuesday, have a pick'em video Thursday, and we're trying to work on another video for Saturday. So we got a lot of videos pumping out. Thank you all so much. And of course, until next time, keep on grinding.